So the other day I made this post, but I thought it would be beneficial to go over it in more depth because the answer just isn't as simple as it seems. The question was, what goes further? $10,000 into your down payment or $10,000 into a rate buy down? And for some, the answer might seem very obvious, but for others, it just depends on your circumstances and what you need it for. So I want to dive into some of the scenarios surrounding that. But before we do that, we need to understand what our base mortgage is going to be. These numbers will assume we are purchasing a $400,000 home using a 6.5% interest rate with 3.5% down and not including taxes and other costs. With that, your mortgage payment would be roughly $2,440. Now, if we add an additional $10,000 and all other terms remain the same, your mortgage drops to $2,377. So at first glance, you could see that an additional $10,000 drops your mortgage payment $63. So what I like to do to get a grasp of whether it's worth it or not is to see how many months or years it would take to recoup that initial $10,000 that I put in. So if you take 10,000 divided by 63, rounded up, that equals 159 months or 13.25 years. So it would take 13 and a quarter years to make that money back. To put that into perspective, the average person stays in their home anywhere from 8 to 13 years. Now, before we get further into that, let's take a look at what an additional $10,000 will do for you if you apply that towards buying down your rate. First and foremost, there are two types of rate buy downs you might consider: temporary and permanent. For the sake of this video, we will look at a 2-1 buy down. A 2-1 buy down is essentially where you're paying a flat fee to temporarily reduce your interest rate by 2% for the first year and then 1% for the second year. And then the third year, until your final payoff, your rate goes back to its original amount. Taking the same specs that we began with, let's say it cost you $10,000 to get a 2-1 buy down. Your mortgage for the first year would be $1,954 because your new interest rate for that first year would be 4.5% instead of 6.5%. That's a reduction of $484 per month or $5,808 for that year. After that, your rate going into year 2 would be 5.5%, leaving you with the monthly mortgage of $2,190 per month. Another reduction of $248 per month, or $2,978 for the year. After that, your payments will go back to 6.5% for the remainder of your loan, and that means it only takes less than 3 years to recoup that initial deposit. As you can see, there's a clear distinction on how far $10,000 will go in terms of putting that into your down payment or buying down your mortgage rate. But what's best for you? There are several different answers, but in my opinion, it just depends on how long you plan on living in the home. If you foresee that you will live in the home for 13 years, 30 years, or for the rest of your life, then what I would do is apply that money towards my down payment to help me pay off the house as soon as possible. If you think you're going to live in the house for 5 to 10 years, then again, what I would do is put that money towards buying down my rate to help me out on my monthly payments until I can refinance or sell and collect on the equity. If you have any questions, please leave a comment or you can reach out to me directly. And as always, if you or someone you know is looking to buy or sell, you know who to call.